I said Scott French is coming on, I have paid him millions to get him on. Or the check's in the mail, Scott. I can't remember which it is, but I got him to come on, you guys. And I want to show you quick, Scott. Welcome, welcome, by the way. But before I'm going to turn this over to you, I want you guys to see a little bit about what I believe about Scott to be true. He did this post. I don't know when it was, a couple of days ago. I saw it, Scott, where you said, I believe life is about personal growth and development. And he went on to expound on that topic. And the most effective way to eliminate your enemies is to convert them into friends, is a post I found. And it's like, you know what? That is absolutely truth. I reached out to Scott and said, Scott, can you come share your thought process? Because he had shared on this particular post a challenge he had with someone that had left a message and how he learned to work through it. And I'm telling you, you guys, when you're talking about Transformation Thursday, our headspace is the huge part of our transformation, right? And Scott is one who has taken that to so many levels. Scott, I am like so inspired by all your breakthroughs. You know, where you walked away from a challenge that you had with alcohol and you lost over 50 pounds this year. You've so many things. But because people matter so much to me, it was your post that you said someone did something offensive and you figured out a way to step back, cool off, and approach that different. And I'm telling you, Scott, I want you to go deeper with that, because I see that as a huge problem as people want a transformation. They're seeing stuff within our social media all across DDPY channels, and they're offended by something, so they walk away. And that's a huge concern for me. So share with us what your thoughts were on that post and how that processed for you.
Okay, wonderful. Well, first of all, Pam, I want to say thank you very much for having me on this morning. I really appreciate it. Amy and I love and respect you so much. You're doing such a wonderful job. Yeah, we do. So when you asked me to come back on again, I was just super excited. So I'm honored. I am very honored, and thank you very much. Yeah, you're doing wonderful things. To address your question and that topic about turning an enemy into a friend, honestly, Pam, like our conversation right now, this is a deep dive. This is real because I'm working through this right now. I'm 62 and I'm still on a path of personal growth and development. People, it never stops. Hopefully it never stops. You never reach the point where you say, I'm at the top of the mountain and I know everything.
That's right.
It's at that point when you don't know anything. But
it is.
so yeah, let's go ahead and just rip the Band-Aid off right now. And I'm working through this right now with you. So this is something that I'm currently working on. And I had a situation where we just launched Warriors Purpose Foundation, and super excited and honored by that. By the way, we'll talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we will talk about that yet. Okay.
Yeah, so we rolled it out on July 4th, and I invited a bunch of people from my personal page as well to the social media page for Warriors Purpose. And we had almost 200 wonderful, beautiful compliments and responses. And out of the 178 perfect, beautiful responses, there was one. There was this one guy, and it was kind of like let me see how he said it. He said, I think because we had asked, we had a donation, we put a donation thing up, and it offended him. Or actually what he said was, this is in bad taste, or bad, like a bad look. That was it. This is a bad look because we asked for a donation. I'm like, how do you start a charity and not ask for a donation? And I'm like, do we have to go on a few dates? I got to buy you lunch and dinner and take you to a movie or something. I don't know. But apparently he did, you know?
Yeah.
So I got that one negative response. I mean, it was a joy-filled day. It was wonderful. We had been building up to this for months. We released it on July 4th. And then, all these wonderful comments, but I had that one. And so afterwards, we launched and we go live, and I read that comment, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm literally trying to do good things here. It wasn't even my idea to start Warriors Purpose Foundation. Was not my idea. Dallas said, why don't you do it, bro? So anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. So the guy says, yeah, not a good look. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? I was upset at first because he said it was not nice. And so I naturally zoomed in on it. I checked him out, went to his Facebook page, and find out that he's a local guy, and he belongs to some of the same charities that I belong to, and he's connected to some people. But he was wrong. He was arrogant, and he was a prick. Excuse my language. Okay, no. I apologize, but he was a prick.
Oh, you stay you.
It was just completely wrong. And here's the thing, is that when you're justified in being right, like when you're right, and I was wrongly attacked for my intentions and my purpose and what I was trying to do, Amy and I, my first reaction was like, screw this guy, boom. And because really I couldn't just let him go on his merry way.
Right.
And he's the guy in the classroom that nobody pays attention to anyway, as it turned out. But it didn't matter. It stuck with me. It bothered me. And so instead of reacting right away, I mean, because I was after we did this, it was 4th of July. I'm over the grill. I'm grilling. I'm on the grill, and I'm standing out there, and Amy comes out. She's bringing the meat out and stuff, and she's like, "You're thinking about it, aren't you?" I'm like, "I can't get it out of my head." I'm like, "What did I do? That was so wrong." So anyway, it bothered me, and I thought about it all night. Of course, I slept and I thought about it. I'm like, I wanted to reach through the phone and grab him and squeeze his throat, but I knew that was not the right answer because I'm trying to improve myself. And I'm like, well, what did I do? So after my ego was attacked, and after my defenses kind of came down a little bit, and I decided I was not going to respond or react to it right away. So I waited, and then I responded the next morning, and it was a little dicey. I was like, hey, I don't appreciate this. It would have been nice if you could have offered some help or advice instead of coming out and just, condemning us right off the bat. I'm like, if you think you have so much knowledge, if you think you have so much, if you think you know so much, why don't you help me? And then, yeah. And it was kind of a sparring back and forth at first. I was being careful I was being careful of two things. I didn't want to attack him, which will just cause a reciprocal back and forth act and react. Now you're fighting.
Yeah.
But of course, we both knew we were both kind of like, and come to find out that, he has a lot to offer. He has worked with and exposed fraudulent foundations before in the past, so he's had different experiences. After we started talking and after we stopped sparring, and I knew when I woke up that morning that when I was going to engage this guy in a conversation, I told myself this, because I knew emotions will get involved. It's like martial arts. You got to get past the emotion. You've got to be in the moment as far as logical. And so I went into it saying, here is my objective. I want to, at a minimum, have him leave the situation where we're not enemies, at least. Right. But maybe, just maybe, if I can swallow my pride a little bit and my ego a little bit, if I can get him to articulate to me what my offense was, then maybe I can look at it. And then when I heard his story, he was talking about how he just exposed another bad group of people. They extorted people for millions or whatever. And I'm like, wow. So it's interesting. And so what it took from me was I assured him. I said, I assure you, sir, if you would do just a little bit of research, just a little bit, troll my page, troll my personal page. I invited him into the Tiger Battalion. Yeah. And he accepted. And I'm like, okay. So, and I said, judge me by not just me, judge me by what's going on with the community and the effect and my peers and what others and the community, not just my words.
Yes.
So anyway, we went back and forth and we talked and I listened to him and he listened to me and he's an Air Force veteran. I'm an Army veteran. He's trying to do good things. I'm trying to do good things. And it kind of reminded me of like when I was a little boy and growing up and I was in elementary school or high school even or whatever. And you get into that playground fight with the bully in the playground or the guy that you just knew that you guys were going to get in a fight before the end of the school year was over. And then you get in a knockdown, drag out fight and you bust each other in the face a couple of times. But after the fight, you get up and you have respect for one another.
Ah,
And after the fight, you become friends. You see that all the time, even in professional fighting. Two fighters will have, get ready to meet in the ring and they talk bad things, say bad things about each other. They talk trash. And then they get into the ring and then they beat the hell out of each other and they get into a fight. And then they have more respect for one another after the fight and then sometimes become friends.
yeah.
So it kind of reminded me of that. And so I was like, okay, well, if I can just kind of get in there with him and it's going to be a tussle and it could end with, him giving me the bird or whatever, or me walking away from it saying this guy is just unreasonable. But it took me going into the conversation saying, I'm not going to allow him to get me to say things that I'm going to regret. I need to realize now personally that, now I'm representing not just me, I'm representing Warriors Purpose Foundation and also DDPY. And so I was sitting there thinking about this and I'm like, I do lots of research. I am first and foremost a martial artist and have been studying martial arts since the 1970s. I've read the Art of War. I've read so many books and philosophy on war and concept and interactions and actions and the three rings and Musashi and all that stuff.
Right.
And one of the highest skills that you read about of attainment is to be able to avoid conflict, and even better, to take a potential enemy and turn them into an ally. And let me, it's
I'm
so
gonna
hard.
stop right there. When I saw your post, and of course, I always everything you and Amy post, right? I always do because I'm always inspired by you too. But when I saw that post, I thought the very thing you just said. I thought because I've always respected you, Scott, but I felt like that post showed me you just went to what I consider the hardest battle in life, which is to offer that other person forgiveness, even knowing they don't deserve it, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
But my greatest concern, and I've been seeing it in specifically in the 55 plus that we're talking to today, I've seen a lot in there where someone will do like someone takes all the time to go to the grocery store, buy and produce this beautiful photographic thing of their food and they put it up. And one person says, well, that's got whatever ingredients in it, which will give you cancer. And so all it takes, and they'll reach out to me and say, I'm not going to post food pictures anymore. And I'm like, but listen, we cannot worry about the committee of they, because they, like you talk about that classroom thing, will always exist. When
That's
I
right.
the term I'm the turtle in my own race, it's a visual to me, Scott, that Pam Riley is not going to fit in anywhere. It is an issue, but at least it's my issue. Pretty sure people know who I am. As crazy as it looks, at least I am the same way. My husband and I will be married 49 years this fall. He'll say the same thing. She wakes up this weird every morning. She's smiling. But Scott, I've had people say, why do you smile so much? Like they're offended by my smiling. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, and I think it's a risk for people taking their health journeys in here. Across all of our DDPY social media things, I think it's a risk when they'll say, I'm not going to post anymore because nobody leaves a comment. Really? Are you only posting so that you'll hear accolades? Do you need affirmation? Because you have to lay that down. We have to lay down the things that we can't expect of our classmates, right? And I
Amen.
couldn't relate to the the schoolyard, we're gonna smack it out, duke it out. I never even had a spanking my whole life. So I really don't know physical, right? But the
Yeah.
thing I like about you and I both on screen is because when I saw that thing, I thought, Scott French would approach this in a different manner than I would. Like, I've never given the bird. I know I have that finger on my hand, but I've never given it, right? But I like people to realize it, these decisions work across all of our personalities. We can decide that we're just going to stay in our own lane. I know who you are. I like that I know who you are, right?
Right.
And I hope that you like me, but I have the disorder that I assume if somebody doesn't like me, give them some time. Maybe they'll like me eventually. I mean, that's how I've been my whole entire life. It's a problem, but I have it, right? So, any other thoughts you have? Because I think you really speak to a totally different audience than I do on how they're going to get around. They're not going to be able to compete with some of the, I mean, we got bodybuilding going on in here that's profound. And,
I know. Let's talk about that in a minute
yeah,
too.
here's the thing, Scott, because I've had some in the 55 plus say I'm not going to post anymore because clearly you guys, they see a bunch of the people with their workout screenshots and they'll see that they maybe did 2 or 3 workouts that day, and now they say to me, I don't think I fit any longer in the 55 plus because I can't do that. I only do maybe 2 or 3 workouts a day. So how do you, from your perspective, address this part that we're not going to fit each other's molds?
Great questions, great points. What I like to try to do with myself is because, like, I'm so old, like, I remember when there was a time before social media. So, uh,
And
so
I'm
social media,
69, by the way, 69 and going strong.
dude,
Yeah,
I remember black and white television with 3 channels, and it was black and
exactly.
white.
And
And
the
when Fox News,
rabbit ears that they turn around. No, no, it's getting better. No, no, it's getting bad.
remember that it was ABC, CBS, and NBC, and that in black and white, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then I think Fox came out, and everyone was like, "Oh wow," it was like that was right after the invention of color television. But anyway, so the reason why I bring this up is because social media is kind of like a classroom almost. You might want to think of. I use like a relationship of like when you were in a classroom in school and you had been there for several years, like ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, whatever. So you knew these people going through, and you knew these people in your classroom. So you're in that class one day, and you got that same person in the back of the class. You know the person who pops off and says stuff, and they piss people off. Sometimes they don't even bother people anymore because people know the source.
Yeah.
They know the person.
Yeah.
The problem with social media is it's a big room and you don't know everybody in there. And then what we tend to do, I think we tend to do, is we assume that people are on the same level of us, whether it's education or perception or experience. You see a name and a comment and you react to it as if it is deserving of a reply. It could be a 5-year-old with a keyboard
Yeah.
and you're arguing with a 5-year-old.
Right.
Conversely, it could also be somebody where if you knew them in real life, you'd be like, you wouldn't give 2 hoots what they had to say. Why do you care about what they have to say on social media? So that's one thing. So if somebody comes at you and says something, and that's what I kind of did with this experience with this guy, was like I told myself, like, this is probably the kind of guy that if I knew and hung out with, he would, first of all, never even dream of saying that to my face, and second of all, I would know and I'd instantly be able to consider the source and I wouldn't be offended.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, I
that's
have to address one other thing that you shared when you shared you're out grilling and you're still thinking about it. You go to bed, you're still thinking about it. That is, I remember one season of my life, there was someone who offended Scott and I both major. I mean, it was a major financial disaster because of their couple. And I remember praying to God, God, just zap them, just get them, have everybody see the slimes they are. I mean, I remember thinking this years ago, right? I
sure.
I went for months upset why nobody was noticing the evil this couple was doing. It's like they were protected, right? And truth was never being shown. And there were several days I woke up that one morning, I'm like, well, where did those 3 days go? I was so consumed. I literally lost 3 days of my life. And at that point, and I probably was in my mid 50s. At that point,
Oh,
Scott,
man.
I said never again. Like never again. So when I get a negative thought, a negative anything coming towards me, I kid you not, Scott, my goal is how quickly I can just smack the thought gone. Matter of fact, for me, because as a Christian, I'm a little weird anyway, right? I immediately, any negative thought, I take it captive and I tell the enemy, I see your butt. You tried to tell me that. I am not taking it. So I literally walk, and it has given me joy and peace since that season of my life. I learned I won't ever let it rob my joy. It could be my last day today. This could be my last interview with Scott
Yeah.
French. Maybe this is my last day.
No.
If it was, would I want to have wasted it worried about, like you said, a classmate that doesn't even know? Probably they offended and hurt me, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, your grilling thing, everybody better be honest with yourselves. We all can connect to what Scott said. He's
So let
thinking
me
about it grilling, thinking about it sleeping. We all know that feeling. Yeah.
let me tell a story because I told you before we recorded this about the grilling story. So
No,
what
you
happened
said it
was,
on this. You said it on
oh,
this.
did I do it live? Did
Yeah.
I tell the grilling story?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it bothered me. It bothered me, that day. And it bothered me that night, and I thought about it, and I'm glad that I paused. So when you're on fire, what does the fire department say that you're supposed to do? Stop, drop, and roll.
Oh, sure.
So I tell myself when I get fired up, stop, drop, and roll.
I love it.
Put stop, drop, and roll. Don't respond. Put the fire out. Collect my thoughts. And so for those of you, like I'm 62. For those of you who may be like younger and you're in your 40s or whatever, life improvement never ends.
That's right.
And so I think like growing up and going through the years, even through adulthood, I, I sometimes thought of life as being like there's this destination that you get to of
Oh,
when I get to this point where I'm fully grown up, I'm going to be able to handle and do and process and be, reach this point of magic where, I get there. And the older I get, the more I realize that it's true. There is no destination. It is truly a journey until we do take our last breath, right? And so when we realize that, and we realize that it's okay to be however old you are and not have it all together yet. It's
yes.
okay. It's okay. Yeah, because we are made perfectly imperfect. So as hard as we try to be perfect, just know that you're not going to be. And you got to show yourself some forgiveness and some grace and humility. It took me humility to overcome this obstacle with this gentleman who attacked me. I had to swallow my pride and be like, oh my gosh. I mean, Pam, I wanted to grab him by the throat. I mean, I was mad at him. I was like, I pictured myself like in a fight with this guy. I mean, but after the emotions and you
Oh,
calm
I
down.
knew you so well. When I saw that post, I thought, wow, this is big news. This is like should be on the front page of a newspaper. That's why I reached out to you right away. I thought, this is powerful stuff, Scott.
Yeah, it was funny because he trolled my wall after that while we were talking. Because he goes, "Oh, I see that you could probably kick my ass." Most guys would be like, "I'm going to kick your ass," because he's on my Facebook profile, and I'm like, "That's simple shit.
Yeah.
Fighting and arguing with people, that's base level simple stuff.
Yeah.
Even if you know how to fight, even if you know martial arts, or even if you're a good arguer, if you're good at arguing or debating,
Right.
if you're even a good,
Right.
there's some people that are really good at debate, and
Yes.
they're really good at it, and they're good at intentionally frustrating you,
Right.
knowing they're wrong. They didn't get in there just to piss you off and make you angry, right?
Yep.
There's some
Yep.
people that are really good with that. Girls are really good with that, girl on girl. Like guys will fight, and then girls will have that fight, intellectually, and then the same thing after they have that fight, when they break up, and then they wind up becoming friends sometimes because they had it out.
But girls, we are not the
Girls,
breed in that sense. I think
oh
women,
man,
we tend to carry things way too long, and it hurts us more than it hurt the other person's already moved on with the idea. and we're teaming over it, right?
Yeah,
So,
you're right though. But holding on to like those 3 days that you were mad or upset, like that,
but no,
they
3 months, but 3 days that I actually completely lost. I woke up one morning, it's like Thursday, it's like, no, I thought it was Monday. And it dawned on me, Scott, I had gone so deep into grieving and victim mentality. You have a pity party, nobody comes to the party. And you don't
no.
you don't realize you're in your own party
Yeah, you
pity
push
party.
people away. People
Yeah.
who think I'm gonna have a pity party. Hey, I'm talking from experience here, okay? So I can talk like this because if you're gonna be depressed, if you're gonna choose to stay in your depression, yes, I said it. There's a time when people choose to stay in their depression because it's their comfort zone. And I'm comfortable being depressed, and poor me and my poor pity party. And look at me boo-hoo because I got it harder than everybody else. And you might. But
Yeah.
guess what? How many people come to your pity party? 2 or 3 to validate their screwed up decisions and their screwed up pity party position?
Right.
No. When you throw that pity party, and then when you realize that you're in a party all by yourself and you feel like shit and you look like shit and you act like shit and your friends are shit, guess what? That pity party ain't a party anymore. And then you have to make a decision. I'm going to stand up, I'm going to change, and I'm going to do what Pam Riley said, and I'm going to choose. I'm going to choose not to. Now, that experience that you shared with me, it took you 3 days to choose to not think about that anymore. It took me like that guy owned my thoughts for that afternoon and that evening, right? So I had to choose to make the decision to entertain those thoughts, that I was going to come back and talk to him. So I chose those thoughts.
Right.
So yes, he was in my mind that day and that night, but the next day I dealt with it proactively, and I was able to. So we choose, right? We choose to have a pity party. We choose to get mad at somebody else, even if we are accurate, even if we are right, even if we are righteously indignant because we are correct. Just because we have the right doesn't always make it right.
Well, and Scott, we got people in our 55 plus here that are watching this that I know are thinking, but you don't understand. I have cancer. I've had strokes. I mean, the stories within here, honestly, sometimes do break my heart because
Uh,
spouse dies, the story. So for me, my mom died, and a couple of months later, our dog died just a few weeks back. Well, ironically, you can make country music songs out of those sorrows, right? I mean, we know, and I've had near death stuff. I'm sure you've seen it in your lifetime too. So it isn't as though we won't have pain. It's just how we're going to flip our choice around. The second I wake up every single morning, I fight for joy. I chase
mm,
it. I literally think, and when things are falling apart, like my mom, 58 days, I was doing everything, bathing her, feeding her, taking
mm.
everything she needed for 58 days of her dying. And she died in my arms, which was so cool, right? But for that whole time, I thought, you know what? There's something happy today. I'm going to find it. And
Yeah,
if you decide to find that, and in this journey of people's health, it can beat you up bloody if you're overweight and now you're seeing someone say they lost X number of pounds. That beats people up, and sometimes they think I'm going to leave the group because of it. But you and I both know the solution isn't to walk away and give up, right?
that's right. Don't leave the group. So don't leave the community, don't leave the group, don't leave. I mean, you have to pick the communities that are good for you. But what
Right.
I'm going to say is, if you choose to leave a community, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons, not because you're emotional or you're overreacting to something that was said or done. You know, I've heard stories now. There's certain groups I've had to leave because they put their foot on my throat and they wouldn't let me post. I had to run it through their admin, and like, so it wasn't healthy for me, so I had to leave that group. But think about you and the reason why you're there and your health. I mean, DDPY brings us together for, we all find ourselves together in DDPY for one reason, and that is to own our health.
Yes,
You
exactly.
know, that's the common denominator. Why we all wound up here in the first place is because we want to feel better. We
Yeah.
want to be healthier. And so if we find ourselves in that big classroom, right? Consider the source. If you're on Facebook, and somebody in the classroom says something or doesn't say something to your post or whatever like that, just tell yourself, like I try to tell myself, that's the guy in the classroom that I normally don't give two hoots about anyway. So like if you knew that person in real life and they said something, you'd probably be like, I don't even care about you, like your thought. So I mean, really, why would we then let it just tear us apart on Facebook or social media?
Right.
And it's because we don't know who's on the other end of that camera or keyboard, and we're validating their thoughts as if they were worthy enough to even own space in our head.
Oh yeah.
And 99% of the thoughts out there don't even deserve to be in your head because it's their stupid, messed up stuff. So if you're in this wonderful 55 plus group, don't let people get in your head. Stay focused on why you're here. And you know what? Focus on Pam. Focus on the few people in the group that motivate you and inspire you, that you love.
I could be one of the screwballs they don't care about in the classroom, and I get that. But like Dallas talks about all the time, the list. On the list is the SmackDown goals. When we create that, we shouldn't be creating goals in our fitness or our nutrition or mindset that are someone else's. We're fitting what fits us. If we've had strokes, then we're not going to be walking like someone else, right? So I feel like that's our greatest story is we have our own race that we're in, right? And
Yeah.
be more comfortable with who we are because you launched this thing, which by the way, I want you to get into now too. You launched this amazing fundraising organization, right? And knowing that that was what you were supposed to do, you're not going to be able to afford to listen to the wind and the waves that are coming at you because if you're doing the right thing, you just stay at who you are and what you're doing. So tell us, because I know you and Amy have a heartbeat for this new journey you launched. And I
Oh man.
know about it, but also if there's a link you want me to post, just make sure you get it to me so I can post the link. Yeah.
warriorspurposefoundation.org.
Ah,
warriorspurposefoundation.org
okay.
is our official. So let's tell the story about Warriors Purpose and Warriors Purpose Foundation and how that's all coming together. I don't know how much time we have. I can make it quick or I can make it long.
Well, we have probably about 15 minutes to go.
If-
So Warriors Purpose well,
Foundation.org.
Foundation. Okay.
warriorspurposefoundation.org.
Yeah, no, we have about 15 minutes, so go for it.
Okay, so everybody knows well, many people know uh many people know that I've been involved in Warriors Purpose with DDPY.
Yeah.
So everybody knows that Diamond Dallas Page, love that man. Everybody knows that Diamond Dallas Page loves veterans. He loves his military brothers and sisters. He looks out for us. Everybody knows he offers 50% off on the app for veterans.
Exactly.
So back in 2021, when they started filming it and putting together Warriors Purpose, I was one of the 10 people that were fortunate enough, and I'm so grateful to have been invited to be part of DDPY Warriors Purpose, the workouts. And basically, at the time of its inception, it was quite simply to attract and lure veterans into a program that has the word yoga in it. Because a lot of veterans won't do it because it has the word yoga. It's not tough enough. So for marketing, I mean, it's brilliant. Just start to attract, right? Just start looking like, acting like. So DDP and Steve put together Warriors Purpose, the program, and I was invited. And so several years have gone by now. And then I guess it was December, I had a person from the community who came forward and messaged me, and she says, hey, does DDP have a charitable fund or organization for veterans who can't even afford the app at the 50% off? Because I see veterans out there that are struggling. And she asked me, she goes, because I see that you work for the company. And I don't. I'm
Donate.
just an instructor. But I take it with much pride and gratitude. But I told her, I said, well, in fact, work for the company, but I can reach out to DDP and ask him if he does have a charitable fund for veterans that I don't know about. So, yes, I do have Dallas's number, and I know I do not abuse it, and I do not just call him and talk with him for the hell of it, even though he tells me I can, but I don't.
Me either.
I know. So, anyways, so I did. So I actually called him. I was all nervous. Dallas, do you have a charitable organization or a fund for veterans? And he and Paige were driving out to Tennessee for their anniversary, and they were in their car. Sounded like the top was down. I don't know. Sounded like a good time they were talking. And he's like, "Hey, bro." He said, "No, dude." I'm trying to do my best impression of DD. Yo,
Good.
bro, that big old boy. Can't do it. And I was like, I asked him, do we have a charitable fund, or is there a charity for veterans within DDP Yoga? And he's like, no, man. He says, I really wanted to do it. Steve and I have talked about it, but we're just so busy. I mean, these guys,
Oh,
everybody at the PC is working hard all the time.
all the
So
time.
anyway, so he's like, man, this is absolutely wonderful. He's like, that somebody wants to do this. And he goes, bro, I want you to do it. I want you and Amy to do it.
Ah.
I was like, what? You want me to? So I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, that's a huge vote of confidence from the man himself to say that he encouraged me to start Warriors Purpose Foundation. Or actually, at that point, it was just a charitable organization for veterans.
Right.
So we just started talking about it, and I started talking with Amy about it. I hung up and I looked at Amy and I said, baby, what are you doing for the rest of your life? Because starting up a charitable organization, it's a business, but it's about charity. It's about, I mean, you're investing your heart and your soul, your love, your passion, not just your material stuff into it.
Yeah.
I mean, like the room behind me here, this was my dining room, and I sold all my, it was my, and I cleared out all my dining room furniture and I donated it to the American Legion, and I put a gym in here and I converted my house, and I'm now teaching and working with veterans out of my house with DDP Warriors Purpose, and training people. This is my dining room, and it's now a gym. I got a Bowflex in there. Dallas and Paige came to visit.
Normal is so overrated. I love the fact that it's not even a goal for you. It isn't a goal for me either, or my husband, right? It makes perfect sense for you. Yeah.
Well, so when Dallas said, "Hey, I want you to do this," and so this is in December, and I asked Amy, I'm like, "Do you want to do this?" And so basically, honestly, Pam, Amy and I have been volunteering and working at the American Legion for 8 years. And I've only been with DDP Yoga now going on 6. So I was already there amongst my veterans, working with them. They saw me, go through my motorcycle accidents when I broke half my rib cage when the motorcycle landed on me, and we were all been together. They saw me gain weight. They saw me go through depression. They saw me get out of shape. They saw me with a walking cane. Right. They helped me move into my house when I had broken ribs and stuff. I mean, so these are like veterans. I am in the foxhole daily with my veteran brothers and sisters. I live in the foxhole with veterans. And so when Dallas said, "Hey, do this," I talked to Amy, and she's like, Amy's dad was a veteran. He was a submariner on a submarine during Vietnam. So then she married me, and I'm a veteran. So Amy's passionate about helping veterans. She's on the board of the American Legion on the auxiliary, and I've been on the board almost every year except for this year. But I've been teaching there for going on 6 years now, teaching DDPY.
Yes.
But so the story is that, so Amy and I said, okay, we're going to try to do this foundation for veterans. So at that point, we didn't even know what to call it, what to do. I mean, Dallas said, yeah, start up a charity and we'll get behind you if you're doing stuff to help veterans. And he's like, well, and I'm like, wow, what does that mean? So it took a little while. We talked about, are we going to, I came up with different names. I'm like, ideally, I want it to be Warriors Purpose because I want to work hand in hand with DDP and with Steve and the company. And so we came to an agreement, and so Dallas and Steve said that they believe in Amy and I to start this foundation. So like most 501c3 charities, like all of them, you have to have a board. So when we were putting together our board, I instantly went to some of the instructors, or excuse me, some of the original Warriors Purpose members from
Oh,
DDPY, right? So let me just real quick give some props to some of the board members. First of all, Pam, I could have asked every single person who was a part of Warriors Purpose to be on the board. They would have all said yes.
I'm sure.
And so for those, like, I just had to grab a couple people here that I'm like closest to, I suppose. But for those who are that I did not get to be a part of this, trust me, I want you to be part of this Warriors Purpose Foundation. You're going to be a part of it. You might not be on the board, but I got plans for you. If you want to be part of this, let's be part of this, and we'll make you a part of it. I'm also working with other DDPY instructors throughout the world, throughout the country, that are wanting to do basically what I've been doing with Warriors Purpose. Has been, all my classes are donation based at the American Legion, and veterans train for free at the American Legion with me. Right. So I've got like Jeremy Callie out in New Jersey. He's a DDPY instructor. He's teaching at the American Legion. So I'm going to be adding him to our group as a DDPY Warriors Purpose instructor, because he's training veterans. If you say you're going to train veterans for free and you are a certified DDPY instructor and you want to be part of this Warriors Purpose, you will be, I'm going to put you on our map as a Warriors Purpose Foundation instructor. And so I'm kind of got off track here a little bit. So anyway, I'm talking with Amy about doing this, starting this foundation up. We get blessed by Dallas and by Steve and the company, and they say, we believe in you and we want you to do this. And so then we had to go about investing a lot of money and time just in setting up an organization. It took us 6 months. All the federal paperwork, all the state paperwork, and then it goes back to the federal for the 501c3, then back to the state, then back to this, back to that, stamp, 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 stamp. And then, it's a process, and so that's what we did, is we decided to go ahead. So we're official now. So we do have warriorspurposefoundation.org. Our goal is exactly the goal of DDPY, and that is to help people improve their health. Now, our elevator speech for Warriors Purpose Foundation is simple. It's to help improve the lives of veterans through better health, through nutrition, mindset, and exercise.
Yeah.
Now, the only extra thing that I bring into the Warriors Purpose Foundation, oh wait, let me back up a little bit. I started talking about my board members and I only named one of them. Jesus, I am so sorry, guys. Please forgive me. Okay, let me go back. Let me having a senior moment. So many things I want to talk about. Let me talk about my awesome board real quick. Man, we have awesome Justin De Hoyos from Grunt Style T-shirt Company. He is instrumental in putting together a lot of mindset programs and helping veterans with their own charitable organization, putting together. It's called the Triangular Compass, and he's bringing a lot of insight to help veterans work through a process of mindset. Right. We also have Matt Kilgore is also on our board. I love Matt Kilgore too. He's
Matt on. He's so key because of all of his rehab stuff fits the 55 plusers. We use it all, right?
Yeah.
I was thrilled to see he was on there.
Yeah, Matt Kilgore is. Every one of our board members is worth their weight in gold. Every one of them. Got Lucky De Hoyos. Lucky De Hoyos was part of the original pioneer program with DDP Yoga back in the day, and he's got a house here in Phoenix too. He's got a couple of locations, but he is an icon in hard work, discipline, and commitment. And working with him, he's been a blessing. Having him on our board is just absolutely wonderful. So I got Lucky De Hoyos and Justin De Hoyos. They're not related. They have the same unique last name. I'd never met a De Hoyos in my life, and then I do Warriors Purpose, and I meet two of them, and they're not related.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And Matt Kilgore, and then of course the co-founder, my wife, Amy French. She's
she's the glue. Don't kid yourself.
100%, 100%, man. 100%. Everybody knows, man.
I love her.
Yeah, this is all because of Amy. I'm telling you right now, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for Amy.
Well, no, you're a good partnership, is what you two are, which I adore.
Honestly couldn't do anything without her. I mean, like when I rebuilt myself when I was so 6 years ago, when I was super broken, super depressed, broken back, broken knees, broken everything, and I honestly couldn't have done it without her. And so yeah, I love you so much, Amy. If you're watching this, baby, you're my everything.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. I
Mm.
know the feeling.
So I'm grateful to my board, but then I started to get off track and I started talking about the direction of what we want to do with Warriors
Yeah,
Purpose.
yeah. Tell
So
us.
what I wanted to do was do healthy living boot camps.
Okay.
I know for veterans, like we all went through boot camp, we all went through basic training, we all went through that stuff. And let me tell you something, what happens is you do lose that discipline. And that's why there is such a thing as health boot camps and healthy living boot camps.
Yeah.
And that's why I would like to do a boot camp. So there's different types of boot camps I envision us doing. I feel that the most effective boot camps are going to be where we have residential, where you come and you stay. The veteran with their spouse comes and stays for, could be a week, could be 2 weeks, whatever the time period might be, but it's residential. So you're there. It's behavior from the time you wake up, from the time you go to bed. You're on campus. You're there. It's part of the boot camp. The food, the nutrition, the classes, the nutrition classes, the exercise classes, the mindset classes, the shopping classes, how to shop at a grocery store, how to avoid the pitfalls in a grocery store, how to look at food as fuel, mindset. I'm bringing in a little bit of introduction to martial arts mindset 101. Like if you were to walk into a karate school right off the street, like what do I expect? Where do I bow? Who do I say this to, that to? What do I do? So, like when you walk into a martial arts school and you do like your first introductory class, you learn one self-defense move and you learn a couple of basics, or whatever it might be, and then you get your white belt. No, you're not a black belt. What it means is you got that white belt around your waist. You're now a student who is committed to improving yourself, right?
Right.
So what I do is I just teach them that
I love that you're talking about that you're bringing them. So this is about bringing them to a location where they're going into a camp setting, right?
that is our first concept. Now I don't have the facility to do that. Amy and I started to do that. We converted our house last December. And so we have a spare bedroom and I've got enough room in the house to where I can train people here. And so I'm doing boot camps right now on a select basis. We weren't really going to be rolling this out until like 2025. And so I was going to give us like 2024 to build out our program. But the minute we like mentioned it back in January, I think we went live in January and said that we were going to do this foundation. And we had a lady who actually inspired us to do this, and she donated like it was like $1,000, even though it cost me like 3 times that to set it up.
Yeah.
So, but it was her belief.
Yeah, that bringing them to, that's what the live or die series that DDPY was working. That's where Butterbean came out of that. They proved that if they could get them in a location,
Yes.
it's a whole different thing. I honestly think all of us realize that if we isolate ourselves in every area, we do change things a lot faster. So the fact that that's part of where you're headed towards, you're really going to change lives that way.
I hope so. But here's the other. So the reality of the situation is resources. Like, so I would like to be able to have a facility where I could do boot camps where I could have like 6 couples, like maybe 6 veterans and their spouses, or actually more, like 6, 10, 12.
Yeah.
I've been a martial artist and I've been a sensei. I've been teaching hundreds of people for many years, and so I'm used to teaching group fitness, group direction, group environments, military, martial art, DDPY. So I'm used to like this is my thing.
Yes.
But so now until we can do like residential boot camps, we're gonna so I have like different plans. So right now, until we get to the point to where we can do a residential boot camp, like maybe we get like that's my ultimate goal. Like maybe we get maybe I rent a property for 3 months during the summer or something like that, and we go up in the mountains. And not everybody, we know that not everybody can take 3 months off for a boot camp because they have life, they got kids, they got jobs, they got school.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
but what I would do is have like a 3 month type semester, and then people can come in and they can be like, I want to book 1 week, I want to book maybe only 3 or 4 days, or I want to book 2 weeks during that 3 month period, and then we just got to fill it.
Yes,
So that's one concept, and that's my ultimate concept.
that's
The
powerful.
reality is, like for right now, I'm teaching right now. I've been teaching for 6 years at the American Legion, and they let me use their meeting hall. But I have to I mean, I have to share it. It's busy, and I don't get it all the time. And honestly, sometimes they forget. And I've been there for 6 years, and they'll double book me. I'll walk in and they'll have a health fair going on, or they'll have a wedding going on. And I'll be like, and I got 12 people here with yoga mats ready to go to work. And
Oh,
so we'll have to go outside in the back patio or something like, but we always get. So we need our own facility. Ideally, Amy and I used to have in Texas, we had a dojo. Owned a franchise. We had 27 schools, and I had one of them, and Amy and I owned one. And so we had that for years, and I got hurt, all my injuries, and then I wound up selling my franchise. But anyway, this would be something that's not new to us. This is something that we've done before. But now, instead of teaching people how to break the human body, we're going to teach people how to repair their body,
yeah,
but using the same techniques of discipline and consistency and commitment.
yeah.
What's the difference between yoga and martial arts when it comes to movement? And I say, not much. The only difference is intention.
Mhm.
Because, well, I can get really deep on the movement and the philosophy and theory of movement and all that stuff, but
But
if I can,
if they follow, so if they go over to your warriorspurposefoundation.org, do you have videos there already kind of explaining what the donations are going for and the kind of the vision and everything there at that?
we're work in progress. So what I'm doing right now is, because really, Pam, Warrior's Purpose has been in existence since I've been teaching at the American Legion for the last 6 years. I just didn't call it Warrior's Purpose.
Right.
So what I need to do is what I've been doing in Tiger Battalion. I've got veterans, I got people, I got family members of veterans, people who showing up to our classes,
Yeah.
and that's the ongoing blog site for Warrior's Purpose.
Yes.
And that's where that Tiger Battalion, yeah, Tiger Battalion is going to be the social media community where Warriors Purpose hangs out. That's where we're going to direct people to.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be the social community is going to be in the Tiger Battalion. So that's where they can be feel free if they want to drop the F-bomb, if they want to get frustrated, if they want to talk about something that's slightly off topic because
Yeah.
they're having a bad day. I'm not going to delete their post because it wasn't DDPY and I know they're having a bad day. No, I'm gonna give them some grace.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Yeah.
so
That's what
that's
I'm
what
saying. They're looking at, I mean, we are quite a bit different, but what's really funny is we have the same heart. We have the same heart, which is to help people.
right.
Really, Scott, I can't thank you enough for creating the time, taking the time and doing this. I know people are going to find more breakthroughs. I know our people adore you often in 55 plus because you're one of our top contributors over there. Besides everything else you do, you're
Oh,
over
thank you.
in that group too. Because I was just going through all the people that are making, there's all these lists, right? Pro stars and top contributors and upcoming stars or something they're telling me about now. Is it an admin? And I see your name right in the chasing numbers. And I'm like, this guy is everywhere. So we're going to continue to follow and support what you're doing. I appreciate that people see who you are is who you are, I think 24/7. And
Yeah,
I
100%.
respect that huge, just absolutely
Yeah.
huge.
It
And
turns some people off. Some people love it and respect it, and some people are like, "You're just a."
but that's the same thing with me. You know, they used to make the jokes. I don't know, they still do. It's probably not politically correct, but the dumb blonde jokes they used to make. I used to think, oh, I bet a brunette gal started those jokes. because the brunettes can easily fit those jokes, but nobody made them about us, right? So I get that I'm not relatable to everybody, but I tell you what, I do love everybody. I honestly do.
Let me look into the camera and say one last thing. If you're watching this and you're in the 55 plus group, know this: not everybody is going to like you. Not everybody is going to get us. Not everybody is going to like us. And that's okay. Okay. If you try to make everybody like you, you're going to sacrifice your own integrity.
Yep.
Be true to you. Be honest with who you are. Don't seek the attention. Just be real. And your life will actually just improve. And it's people are attracted to that. When you tap into that magic of believing in you, people want to reach out and touch you. They want to reach out and touch that magic. They want to feel that magic. And you possess that magic. Don't let the naysayers in any group, don't let them own space in your head. You keep doing what is right for you.
That's right.
Do not compare to anybody else. And keep checking out this page. Keep coming back to Pam and us. And we got you. We get you. It's okay not to be perfect. Come back.
Exactly. Hey, so that's the best transformation Thursday we can give out here, you guys. You're all going to have your transformation, aren't they, Scott? They're going to have it all in their own timing and in their own pattern. But we're
Yes.
all here together just to support each other, cheer each other on. So thank you so much, Scott. You know I adore you, right?
We love you too, Pam. Absolutely. You know that. Yeah.
Bye-bye.